Yeah, today we are going to talk about tense. What what is meant by tense? Tense means actually time. So how many times do we have? So usually whenever a person is asked about how many tenses do we have, generally they say that we have 12 tenses. But in fact, we have only three tenses. It means three times: present, past, and future. So again, this present, past, and future are subdivided into simple present, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous tense. Similarly, from the past, simple past, past continuous, past perfect, past perfect continuous. Coming to the future, simple future, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous tense. So altogether, we have 12 subtenses. These are not tenses. These are, we can say that these are classified into subtenses, subdivided into 12 subtenses. So on the whole, we have only three tenses: present, past, and future. So in the present, we have simple present, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous tense. Today, in fact, we are going to talk about simple present tense, because simple present tense is a very important tense, of all the other tenses, I can say, because simple present tense is such a tense which is very widely used by people. I can say around 40 to 50% of English centers around simple present tense only. If you want to be very simple, if you want to express, very clearly, the best tense in English language is simple present tense only. So the English language aspirants must learn what is simple present tense, how is it used, what is the structure of simple present tense, what are the various uses of simple present tense. It is mandatory and it is must for them to understand. If they can really understand the uses of simple present tense and start using it, then they can really use English language like anything, because simple present tense covers present, not only present, past, and also future. So it covers all three, times, three tenses, I can say: present, past, and future. So now, when we go to when we go to simple present tense, and simple present tense has many uses. But well, before going to that, let me just give you the structure of simple present tense. The structure of simple present tense is subject plus be form plus noun or adjective. So here, just a second. Yeah, now if you just look at the structure of simple present tense, it has a subject. Of course, it has got three different structures. Now I'm going to talk about structure one. In the structure one, you all must be knowing what are B forms. There are 5 B forms in English language, namely am, is, are, was, were. These 5 are known as B forms. But since we are talking about only present, okay, so we confine to only am, is, and are. Out of them, am is used by only I. Okay, I takes am, and all singulars take is, all plurals. I mean to say I am, okay, we, you, they take are, he, she, it. These are known as third person singulars. These third person singulars, they take, are. I'm sorry, third person singulars take is and all other take are. So that way you can have a formula, very easy formula, subject plus am or is or are plus noun. You can use in the object place either a noun or an adjective. Whenever you use a noun, you are giving information about the subject. Whenever you use adjective, you are describing that subject. Say, for example, if you want to give information about the subject, you can say, she is. When you say the moment you say she is, you are giving information about that person. She is a professor of English language. He is a doctor. He is a cardiologist. I am Dr. JVN Mallikarjuna. So I'm giving information about me. That's why subject with the help of a be form followed by a noun. Suppose if I want to give a description of the subject, say for example, you will use the subject he. Then the suitable be form is. He is. Now you are describing this person. What kind of person he is, you want to say. Suppose you are talking about your best friend, or you are talking about your favorite teacher, you are talking about your role model. Then how would you say, for example, about your best friend? Naturally, you would say, he is nice, he is good, he is friendly, he is sincere, honest, industrious, hardworking, social, cooperative, generous, helpful, okay, magnanimous, and many other words you can use. Honest, sincere. So you are trying to describe the qualities of a person. So whenever you are trying to describe not only the mental, qualities of a person, similarly the physical appearance also. For example, he is tall, she is short, okay, he is obese, he is overweight, he is underweight, he is skinny, he is bony. Bony means there are only bones. He is very, very thin. He is bony. He is skinny. There is only skin. That's why he is skinny. So these are all the words you are using to describe the person. So in simple present tense, we can also use be form followed by a noun to give information, and we can use an adjective to give the description of the person that you are talking about. Suppose you are talking about you. I'm very sincere, I'm serious, I'm friendly, I'm social, and like any other adjective you can use. I'm very courageous, he is timid. Like this, you can use any kind of adjective in order to describe. Now if we just look at I can say the sentence, let's go to second structure. In the second structure, this is actually in simple present tense. This is a very, very important structure of simple present tense, I can say. So it has got two structures here. What is that? It has got like subject plus, okay, V1 plus object. The other day, I told you in the previous class, every verb has got 5 forms, namely V1, Vs, V2, V3, V4. So V1, Vs are used for simple present tense, V2 is used for simple past tense, V3 is used for perfect tenses, and V4 is used for continuous tenses. So here, since we are talking about simple present tense, so we talk about only V1 and Vs. What do you mean by Vs? Vs is nothing but, adding yes or years to V1 form. Say, for example, write, writes, go, goes, take, takes, teach, teaches. Then what is the difference? The difference is that with all plural subjects, we use V1. With all singular subjects, we use Vs, except I. I is mostly an exception in English language, which has got its own set of rules. That's why there, we have seen all the singulars have taken is, all the plurals have taken are. but exclusively I has taken am in the be form. Similarly, here also I takes V1, though it is a singular, but it always takes V1 only. Whereas other singulars take Vs and all plurals take V1. Say, for example, you can look at some sentences. I teach. I teach English. They live in Hyderabad. We speak English as a second language. So here, when you are using I, we, you, they, for example, you know English. Okay, you come from an rural area. Okay, and so whenever you are using all the plurals, you will use only V1 followed by an object. Whereas with third person singulars, that is he, she, it, or any other noun form, say for example, in the place of he, she, it, you have a noun. Say for example, you are talking about Suresh. Suresh speaks good English. So Suresh is also a third person singular here. Suresh speaks, not speak. Speaks because third person singular. Similarly, when you use the subject he wakes up at 4 o'clock. He does a lot of exercise. He, takes his breakfast on time. He takes his breakfast around 8 o'clock. He goes to office. Try to observe. He goes to. He wakes up. He does. He refreshes. He takes bath. He takes breakfast. So we are using VS form. So with all he, she, it, we are using VS form. This is the structure of simple present tense. In simple present tense, we have two verb forms, namely V1 and VS form. VS is used with singulars and V1 is used with plurals except I. And lastly, we have one more structure, that is, again here B form comes followed by V3 form. I told you just now V3 is used in perfect tenses, but it is also used in passive voice. In passive sentences we use. Say for example, if you have a sentence like this, English is spoken all over the world. So here is B form, spoken is V3, and this is in passive voice. Okay, English is spoken all over the world. Vegetables are sold here. PM is given a warm welcome. I'm sorry to say vegetables has a wrong spelling here, V-E-G-E. Okay, it's not V-E-G-I. V-E-G-E-T-A-B-L-E. Vegetables are sold here. PM is given. PM has not given anything. PM received a warm welcome by others or from others. So here Prime Minister is a recipient of warm welcome by many other people. So that's how we should understand. We can use, simple present tense with B form, with the main verbs V1 and VS, and also in passive voice. So simple present tense has got three structures. Now, and well, before going to the uses, let me just talk about different structures. I mean, like every sentence has got different forms or different forms. I can say, for example, you have a positive sentence, negative sentence, interrogative sentence, negative interrogative sentence, and a question tag. So I know English is a positive sentence. Then how do you make it a negative sentence? So whenever you are using simple present tense, here in simple present tense, when you use V1 or VS, you are not using any helping verb here at all. Simply you are using a main verb straight away, V1 with plurals, VS with singulars. That's why whenever you convert a positive sentence into a negative sentence, you need the help of some auxiliary verbs or some helping verbs. That's why here in simple present tense, whenever we convert a positive sentence into negative sentence, since it doesn't have any helping verb, we take the help of do and does. Do and does. So here with V1 again we use do, with VS we use does. Say for example, I know English, it is V1. Whenever it is V1, we use do. I know English, I don't know German, I don't know French. So how can I say I know English and I don't know English? So I'm self-contradictory. I can't say I know English. When I say I know English, I don't know Telugu. I don't know a foreign language. I don't know French language. So I belong to India. I don't belong to Pakistan. Okay. And I teach English, but I don't teach any other subject. So that's how, you should make negative sentences. So for example, he, if you go for third person singular, he plays, football. He doesn't play chess. Okay. Of course, you can say he plays, football. Strictly speaking, if you ask me to convert this into negative, he plays chess, he doesn't play chess. Of course. But to make some common sense in what you are speaking, you cannot say, I play chess, I don't play chess. It's very funny to say like that. You can say, I play chess, but I don't play tennis. Okay. He plays, football, he doesn't play. So he doesn't play any other game like that. So she likes movies. She doesn't like serials. She likes movies, but she doesn't like movies. Here, there is one important information I want to tell you. Many English speaking people commit this mistake and they get this doubt also. They think that, I have VS here. For example, he teaches. When it is he teaches, what he thinks is, when I add does here, he does not, the same verb form teaches. He does not teaches English. That's wrong. Actual helping verb is do only. But this teaches has that es form, right? That es form gets transferred to this place do, thereby it has become does. So already we have used the word does. That's why we need not use yes form again. We can simply say he teaches English. He does not teach French. Okay, clear? They don't play, they play baseball. They don't play baseball. This is fine. There's no problem. But coming to only does. It rains. It does not rain. Okay. She, sings. She does not sing. That's how you have to understand. So that's about negative sentences. Similarly, an interrogative sentence. What do you mean by an interrogative sentence? An interrogative sentence means asking questions. How can you ask questions? Usually, interrogative sentences are of two types. One is with helping verbs, the other is with WH words. What do you mean by WH words? Like what, where, when, why, who, how, which, such kind of words when we use, such kind of words are known as WH words. So whenever you ask a question with any of the WH words, we call it is a WH question. Okay. So here, since we are talking about simple present tense, the interrogative sentence for simple present tense is, you can ask like this. See, you have to remember the structure. Whenever you are making a question, you have to keep one thing in mind. Always the helping verb should come in the first place. See, already we have seen a sentence. She doesn't go to office on Sundays. She doesn't go. Here, first subject and then helping verb. When you are asking a question, you will bring this helping verb forward. Thereby, does she go to office every day? Does she speak English? Does he practice yoga? Okay, do I play soccer? Do they play baseball? Does she like movies? Does it rain in summer? So here you have to keep one thing in mind. you are beginning the questions with do and does. That is the actual structure of English language. Whenever you are asking a question, you have to begin with a helping verb. Then only it is proper. But of course, unfortunately, many people, many English speaking people say that, simply they don't say, are you coming? They say, are you, they ask, you are coming now? They say you are coming now. You are coming now is not an interrogative sentence. You have to in fact ask, are you coming? Can you accompany me? Will you please help me? You'll help me na? You'll come na? You will do it na? What is that? It's not an interrogative sentence. A proper interrogative sentence must begin with a helping verb. All 24 auxiliary verbs, 24 helping verbs that we have. So you have to invariably begin with any one of your, any one of the helping verbs. Then only it is proper. That's why you can make the sentences with do. Do you know English? Do you practice yoga? Do they, help you in work? Okay. And do we really know anything about corona disease? Okay. Does it rain? Does he answer to all your questions? Does she respond in the class? So that's how you have to ask questions. So that is about interrogative sentence. Now, negative interrogative sentence, like already we have seen a positive sentence followed by an interrogative, negative sentence. I know, I don't know. Okay. Similarly, do you know? Then negative interrogative will be, don't you know? Doesn't she come? Doesn't she do it? Doesn't he help you? Doesn't it rain? Doesn't it, empower itself? So you will have to make the sentence or begin the sentence with a contractive form, that is do plus not, that is don't. Don't you know English? Doesn't she speak truth? Don't they own this flat? Don't you know this before? Don't they very often come to your home? Don't they really interact with you? Don't they talk to you over phone? Doesn't it cost very expensive? Like this, you will have to ask. That is called negative interrogative sentence. You can see the structure also. Don't or doesn't you can begin, plus subject plus V1 plus object. Then another one is, we have already done interrogative sentences, and of course, interrogatives, and I'm sorry, now, interrogative sentences with WH questions now. So, already we have seen interrogative sentences with do, does in the first place. So, whenever you are starting a question with any of the WH questions, so WH word will come in the first place, and then do and does will follow, right? If you just look at the structure, WH word followed by do or does plus subject plus verb. For example, you can ask questions like this. What do you do? How do you do? Where does she work? Why does she come late every day? How often do they watch movies? Where do you spend your summer vacation? How do you know this? Okay, how do you know? Okay, where does he spend his vacation? Okay, whom do you consult? Sorry, whom do you consult? What do you do in your free time? How do you face the problems that come in your life? How do you face the problems that come in your life? Where does she work? Why does she come late? How does she help you in trouble? Okay, any word you can take. How often Does she visit you? How often do you go there? How often do you speak in English? That's how you can use any, like what, where, when, why, who, how, which, whom, whose, any WH word you can use. So that is interrogative sentences with WH question. So what we have seen till now is simple present tense. Okay, structure. Simple present tense has got three structures. One is with be form, the other is with main verbs, that is V1 and Vs, and then it has a passive form followed by be form followed by V3. And then we have understood how to make negative sentences in simple present tense, and how to make interrogative sentences in simple present tense, and how to make negative interrogative sentences in simple present tense, and how to make interrogative sentences by using WH words. And then structure wise, lastly, we are going to talk about question tags. What do you mean by question tags? Question tags are very, very important ones in English language, which are very often used by native speakers. Native speakers very often use, whenever they are speaking English, every second sentence will have a question tag. Okay, actually, what is the question tag used for? Many people think or mistake it for a question. It's not a question. A question tag is always used to stress on what they are saying or for the confirmation of what they are saying. Suppose a speaker makes a statement, in order to confirm what he is saying or in order to stress on what he is saying, what he will do is he will ask a question tag. And this question tag has got, I can say some rules. What are the rules of question tags? Usually in a question tag, a positive sentence will have a negative tag. Okay, a negative sentence will have a positive tag. You may not have understood what I'm trying to say. A positive sentence, for example, you can look at the examples in the slide which I am showing you. She is a doctor. So this is known as an affirmative sentence or a positive sentence without any negative words like no and not. So that is called a positive sentence. She is a doctor. So when you want to convert, when you want to prepare a tag on this, she is a doctor, isn't she? What you have to do in a question tag is that take the same helping verb. For example, here we have be form, that is, and when the given sentence is positive, your tag will be negative. That's why you have added not. And the same subject you will take she, that is isn't she? She's a doctor, isn't she? Okay. He is my teacher, isn't he? Okay. It's raining, isn't it? If it is a positive sentence. Suppose it is a negative sentence. He is not our professor, is he? It's not raining, is it? So when it is a negative sentence, what we do is the tag is always positive. But the other rules are common. What is that? Same helping verb, same subject. If the sentence is positive, the tag is negative. If the sentence is negative, the tag is positive. You can notice that she is a doctor, isn't she? He is not our professor, is he? Same sentence you take and see. She is a doctor, isn't she? She is not a doctor, is she? Okay. Similarly, you can see for the second structure, she teaches English. See here, you have some problem to understand. She teaches English. In this sentence, we don't have a helping verb. So whenever we don't have a helping verb in present tense or simple present tense, already we have seen to make them negative sentences, we have taken the help of do and does. So similarly here also, we take the help of does because it is VS form. So she teaches English, doesn't she? Suppose it is she doesn't teach English, does she? She teaches, positive sentence, that's why doesn't she? She doesn't teach English, does she? Similarly, one more sentence, it doesn't rain, does it? They live in Hyderabad, don't they? They don't live in Bangalore. They don't live in Bangalore, do they? They don't practice yoga, do they? They practice yoga, don't they? So when it is positive, tag is negative. When the sentence is negative, the tag is positive. This is very important for us to keep in mind. And now, finally, we are going to look at uses. Till now, what we have done is we have understood how to, make sentences in simple present tense, various other forms like interrogative, negative interrogative, question tags, and WH questions and all that. But very important thing is how to use simple present tense. So without understanding the proper use of simple present tense, the whole spirit is gone. So simple present tense is a very beautiful tense that I can tell you. And simple present tense is used to talk about our daily routine. What do you mean by daily routine? Right from the time we get up till we get back to bed, whatever the actions that we do, all can be covered in simple present tense only. For example, if you closely observe, I'm going to talk about my daily routine. So I wake up at 5 o'clock. Then I go for walking. I walk for 50 minutes. Then I take rest for some time in the garden. I do breathing exercises. Then I get back home around 6:30. Then I refresh myself and I take bath, and then I pray to God for some time. Then I have a cup of tea or coffee. Then I take my breakfast around 8 o'clock. I go to college. I take classes from 9 o'clock up to 1 o'clock. Then I take my lunch from 1 to 1:30. I just walk for a while, and then I take rest for some time. Then I have classes again from 2 to 4 o'clock. I take my classes, and then I come back home around 4:30. I take rest for some time. Then I have a cup of tea, and then I just take some spoken English classes. And after that, I watch television for some time. I have my dinner around 8 o'clock. Then I walk for some time up to 9 o'clock. Then I go to bed at 10 o'clock. So you might have seen that I have used only V1 all through. I have not used any other verb form than V1. That is called, simple present tense. Whenever you are talking about daily routine, regular actions, or habitual actions, anything that you do by as a hobby, as a habit, are known as habitual actions, and daily routines are always used in simple present tense only. And simple present tense, because it is used for habitual actions and also periodically actions or activities that happen, we use simple present tense. That's why we have some some commonly used adverbs to talk about the frequency of time. When you say that, I do it, for example, I read newspaper. When you say I read newspaper, okay, then how frequently you read newspaper. So to know the frequency of the time, always in simple present tense, we will be using certain adverbs like daily. Daily is a verb which refers to here the actions that happen every day. So daily, every day, often, very often, frequently, regularly, always, never. Even you can use I never take alcohol. Okay, I never quarrel with stupids. Okay, I never tell lies. Okay, even for that also you can use simple present tense. Anything that you do rarely. So he comes to college rarely. He teaches rarely, very rarely. Generally, periodically, occasionally, usually. So these are the words which we use very often in simple present tense. Now, in simple present tense, we have some more uses. very importantly, we use simple present tense for universal truths. What do you mean by universal truths? Like the sun rises, we say. We don't say the sun will rise because it's a universal truth. The sun rises in the east. The sun sets in the west. Okay. A baby cries in the absence of mother. Earth rotates round the sun, revolves round the sun. So water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Scientific facts. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. So whenever you are talking about universal truths, general truths, and scientific facts, you can use simple present tense. You have to say water boils, not water boil. Okay, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Similarly, this can be used for newspaper headlines. If you just read newspaper, if you are in the habit of reading, newspapers, you will understand this actually. In the newspaper headlines, you very often see the titles are always in simple present tense only. Why they are titled in simple present tense? They should be very catchy for the readers. That's why we are able to see so many newspaper headlines, titled in simple present tense only. Only when you go inside, you understand whether he is talking about past news or present news or future news. He says that, Prime Minister visits, Prime Minister arrives, Prime Minister visits tomorrow or next week. Okay, newspaper headlines. So rainfall rises, he says. Actually, it rose to. What is that rises? Rainfall rises to. Corona claims. The title is claims, not claimed. Corona claims. So the title is claims. Only when you read inside, you will get to know Corona disease claimed, 2 lakh lives till now all over the world. And one more, you say, wife murders. I'm sorry, the spelling is again wrong. Murder, murders. Wife murders drunk husband. What is that murders? As if it is eternally she murders. So the caption, the title is in simple present tense. When you read inside, you understand that a wife murdered her own drunken husband or drunk husband. So newspaper headlines will be talking about past news or future news or present news, but most of them are in, I can say in simple present tense. Similarly, I can say quotations. Like most of the quotations, if you say, all that glitters is not gold. Okay. So if you look at quotations also, like for example, they say Swami Vivekananda says. We don't say Swami Vivekananda said. Swami Vivekananda says, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Understand? So Swami Vivekananda says, Shakespeare says, Lord Krishna says. So for quotations, also we use says, simple present tense only. And even most of the proverbs and quotations, if you see, every cloud has a silver lining, simple present tense. So most of the quotations and proverbs are in simple present tense only. And we have commentaries. In commentaries, you can, of course, understand in commentaries, cricket commentary, football commentary, and all of them are in simple present tense only. Oh, see how the ball floats in the air. He say, floats. So he uses floats. How it flies. So he uses the word flies, floats. So like that, he hits the ball so hard, he says. He hits the ball. So you can understand he is using only simple present tense. If you listen to cricket commentary and also football commentary, you will understand this better. So once again, for commentaries, and also one more important thing is that it is used for pre-planned or pre-scheduled actions. So most of the pre-planned actions, suppose something is already pre-planned, pre-scheduled to happen, in that case, what happens is, they use simple present tense only. Say, for example, college reopens in the month of August. You may ask me, sir, it is going to open in August. How can you use simple present tense? Because it is pre-planned or pre-scheduled. You can say college reopens. College closes, okay, for summer vacation. College is closed on Sundays. College is closed on Sundays. So, Prime Minister visits Hyderabad next month, or Prime Minister, goes, or Prime Minister visits South America, South Africa, or Australia, something like that, next week or next year, whatever. Okay. So in that case also, we are going to use simple present tense only. So what we have to understand from all this is that simple present tense has got plenty of uses that we should understand. What do you mean by this plenty of uses? Like we have already seen, yeah, we have already seen various use of simple present tense. Once again, I revise. Simple present tense is used for daily routine, habitual actions, periodical actions, okay, and for universal truths, general truths, scientific facts. And simple present tense is used for newspaper headlines, football, cricket commentaries, okay, and for quotations and proverbs, and for pre-planned future actions. Pre-planned future actions, that's why it covers future also. And it has got one more important usage, that is, it can be used for past actions as well, which is known as a narrative past. Whenever you are talking about something related to past, say for example, you are talking about the history of a person with that. So I think